Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Hi guys, CeeChronicles here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I post fragrance related content here and would very much appreciate it if you did consider joining the family by subscribing. And to those who are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I have a quick video on same juice, different bottles, right? I actually drop some of these videos from time to time to save you money. Now, these particular videos I do because, of course, I'd like to conscientize you on not buying the same thing twice, but at the same time, they also help with preference, you know. So if I say same juice, different bottle, it also then depends on the house, right? So that's exactly what I'm trying to say. So it depends. Do you like Latafa? Do you like Zamaya? Do you like Afnan? Then it will be up to you to say, okay, if this one smells like this and this and this, and they're coming from these different houses, I think I would rather pay or spend my coins on this house's one because they make better fragrances, right? So number one, guys, is going to be Cosmopolitan London, right? Cosmopolitan London. Or perhaps before I talk about Cosmopolitan London from the House of Paris corner, let me just give you the lowdown on Cosmopolitan Dubai, because it might be a while before maybe I bring this fragrance. I don't have another fragrance like this in my collection. This is a woody, earthy, spicy scent, right? And it does feel Middle Eastern, but it draws its inspiration or smells very similar to that Bouvari Falca. So I just thought to get that one out of the way for those who may care to know, because usually when I bring videos like this, I will then have somebody saying, oh, what about that one? What does it smell like? Now going back to why we are here, right? This is Cosmopolitan London, and there is one missing in my collection. I actually didn't realize that there was three, of these fragrances. Cosmopolitan London, to my nose, is a beautiful suede, sweet fragrance with a juicy, shall I say, fizzy, sparkly tangerine, right? In that suede. There's going to be a tease of a leather and a slight honey tobacco coming from that Immortelle, but it's not enough to call this one a tobacco scent. What you're going to get is mostly that suede tone of a fragrance with a fruity feel to it, right? This and this Suede Intense from Maison Alhambra are two fragrances that feel the same juice, a different bottle, though I feel this one is way better because this one is a little bit weak to my nose. Both of them, guys, share that DNA that is in the same vein as that Guerlain Cœur Beluga. So if you like Cœur Beluga, these two are going to be great alternatives. Now, as to which one you should purchase, it's entirely up to you guys. I'm not here to tell you purchase which one or whatever, but I am just saying if you bought these two at the same time, then you have the same juice, right? This one lasts a little bit longer than the Maison Alhambra one, but you would definitely have the same juice. If you already have this, you probably don't need this, or vice versa. Now, if you like that Cœur Beluga DNA, then of course I would encourage you to purchase either one of these fragrances. That's about 4 or 5 hours, somewhere thereabout. Do not let that suede thing, the leathery accord and the tobacco thing scare you off. This just feels like a grown candy style of fragrance there with what I deemed in this something that smelled like, how a new car smells like. So that's what you're going to get there. So these two guys, which is Cosmopolitan London from the House of Paris corner, as well as Maison Alhambra Suede Intense, are one and the same thing. The next two I need to conscientize you on are going to be these ones, guys. Musammam White Intense from the House of Latafa, as well as Cartilage's Flor Oud. I did mention it in the video that I did of this, that this fragrance and this one feel like there's the same thing. There's very slight differences there, but I can almost say maybe the differences are because I've had this one for longer than I have had this one. So it could be that what I am getting there that feels similar is just going to outright be one and the same thing. So these two fragrances, guys, are going to have a sweet and sour feel to them. They're both floral toned. They are leathery. They're also going to have some woods there to anchor them. They're both going to have an animalic orange blossom and an overly woody accord, to them. Both fragrances feel like juices that can transition through all seasons. They are not really summer toned per se. And I think this is why this one says intense. There is some some pushiness to these two DNAs, that you cannot call them summer tone fragrances, in as much as there may be a temptation to say so. They can hold their own in that very cold weather, cool weather, in the summer weather. It just depends on the number of sprays. But these two fragrances, guys, to my nose, feel a little bit redundant to own at the same time. So it's going to be down to which house you prefer. If you prefer the house of Cutlash, because Cutlash has been serving you fragrances that are well blended, then I would say go for this one. If you prefer Lattafa, you can go for this one. And of course, Lattafa, as you know, is very easily accessible, almost, worldwide. So it's really entirely up to you on the look, right? Or the look, because a lot of people have been saying they have a problem with the snakes. So if you love this DNA, which vibes like that Louis Vuitton Still at Times, all right? It's really going to be entirely up to you what you prefer, but it's going to be down to house, down to bottle, down to price and all that. But to me, they feel a little redundant to own both at the same time. So I thought to clue you up, guys, that these juices, to my nose, smell very, very similar, to an extent that I don't think you really need both. Now, the next two I want to show you are these, all right? Kismet for women versus Zemaya's a la Rosé. If my bottles are coming with this, what you call it, whatever it is, this, whatever. I have a fluffy mat here that I put in front of me, or a fluffy rug, just to make sure that my bottles don't break or something like that. I have a little table, and then I put a fluffy rug there. So it has this tendency that when I pick up the bottles, they always have this like woolly thing going on, all right? So Kismet for women by Maison Alhambra is certainly one that has been around the block for a long time, unless I am mistaken and this has been around for a long time. I don't know. But what I can say about these two fragrances, guys, is they do have that DNA centered around that Good Girl Gone Bad by Kilian DNA, and I can almost certainly say absolutely so, because if you look at this, you can see that this is some print that Kilian uses, right? So these smell a lot like Good Girl Gone Bad, as sourish style of fragrance with a green jasmine there, a little bit soapy as well. It does have osmanthus and peach, which some of you will be able to smell and some of you will not be able to smell. If the sourness, if the sour wrap up of these fragrances takes over to an extent that you can't go past it, then you may miss the peach and the osmanthus. But I do smell the peach and the osmanthus. Both of these fragrances, I'd certainly say try first, especially if you do not have an experience with a lot of fragrances. Don't just rush and say, oh, because they draw inspiration from a Kilian, then I'm going to purchase it. Good Girl Gone Bad itself is not a very easy DNA to carry, quite grown to the nose, and as I said, with that sour floral, sour green accord, soapy as well, even powdery for some. That is what you're going to get here. Underlying fruitiness, but the fruitiness does not take over. So these can come off as pretty strange, but why they're here, guys, is, to me, it's certainly redundant to own both. It's entirely up to you. If you feel this presentation is better, if you can get the Zemaya one, or the Zemaya one is cheaper, or vice versa, then it's entirely up to you. This one is one that can be hard to find, by the way. I don't know what happens when it comes to this one with Maison Alhambra. Sometimes you see it everywhere, sometimes you can hardly see it. So if it's one of those that you can't get your hands on, we have an alternative, guys, in Zemaya. So you can certainly purchase, the Zemaya one, or whichever, but they vibe the same. Zemaya a la Rosé versus Kismet for women from the house of Maison Alhambra. Now the last two, I'm not going to blab much, but I'm just here to okay, I have to close these tops. I don't know what Paris Corner was thinking, guys, but these tops, yeah. Well, the one thing I can say for sure is you can hold it by the top, right? Because this top ain't going nowhere. It's really, really tight, okay? So next pair is going to be Sweet Surrender from Paris Corner. A new release from Paris Corner versus Nebras. The same DNAs here are the same that you're going to get, of course, in this, right? However, drawing inspiration from Eilish, these two DNAs have taken this particular DNA and ran with it. The sugar note is amplified, especially in this one, right? I get more of the sugar in this one. If it changes, it changes, but I get a more sugar-centered fragrance in this. And of course, the cocoa powder there, and the red berries. It's also going to have the citruses there. That is what you're going to get. Both have the same, vibe. So yes, you're going to get cocoa powder in this. Yes, you're going to get sugar, that sort of thing, vanilla and all that. But I'm saying for now, I am preferring this because it's giving me a middle ground between this one and this one. Kind of feeling as though if you say maybe took the two and you mixed, you're going to have a middle ground, which is something like this. And why am I saying this is my Nebras does a little bit too much. It's like it's not too much as in it projects and it's loud, or it's just like this chocolate, if you know what I mean, like thickened, gooey cacao that can have some people finding it hard to even enjoy, say, the pink pepper, if you know what I mean, the pink pepper, the citruses, and like have some people saying, what are you even talking about? Whereas in the Eilish, I can kind of, feel those pages. I can even separate the sugar from the cacao, and it's something that I get in here. However, am I saying this is like a one-on-one with this? No, this one is more amplified. This one is way stronger. The Eilish in itself, when these guys went for the DNA, they made sure to push it a little bit more, because this kind of gives me like a grown, this is what I wanted to say. This one gives me a grown feel of a cacao, like a moderate feel, whereas this simply gives me slap in the face yummy. When my daughter sprayed it, it was like, okay, no questions asked. I love this fragrance because it's just, to me, chocolate factory. Charlie in the chocolate factory, right? Now with this, I get the same thing, right? Definitely drawing inspiration from Eilish, no doubt about that. But it just does seem to me as though it's amped up there on the sugar, where you can almost feel, like the sugar, like the granules of the sugar. Say you took white sugar and you ate that, and then maybe on the side, you were also, you also had some cocoa powder on the side, and you mixed that and you ate that. That is how this one interprets. But yes, they arrive at the same destination. Same juice, different bottle. You probably do not need both at the same time. It's going to be an issue of preference. Is the Paris corner bottle doing it better than the Nebras bottle for you? That sort of thing. Has the Nebras price gone crazy? Because that is another thing that's going on with this fragrance. Then maybe you ought to grab this one as fast as you can, because I'm not sure what the landing price was on this, but if it's cheaper, then maybe you ought to go for this one. I don't know, but it's entirely up to you. If the snake doesn't bother you, that's another thing. I personally love this bottle than I do love this one. I know this is minimalistic and all, but I personally prefer this bottle than this. So yes, guys, this just feels like the same thing rebottled. When you wear it, probably nobody will notice the difference there. So Sweet Surrender versus Nebras is entirely up to preference, but to me, they vibe the same. So that is the last set that I had for you in this same juice different bottle. And remember, as I said, I always bring these videos to make sure that you guys don't waste money and stuff like that, but it's not targeted at, bringing anybody's business down or anything like that. It's just that we have cottoned up to the fact that the Middle Eastern companies are notorious for repackaging DNAs, over and over again, to an extent that if you're blind buying, which is in most cases, you find yourself with the same fragrance. And having said that, I'm going to put links in the description where you can purchase these bottles, or where you can purchase these fragrances as decants for those who want to test, right? I'm going to put the link for Hygicent. You can use that link to purchase some of these fragrances. Say you want to purchase Ophidian, Sweet Surrender, and Nebras, and then just test out before you go for the full bottle. They ship in the USA. I'm also going to drop a link for decantboutique.com. They ship internationally, so they can also help you with making up your mind when it comes to some of these fragrances, to see which one you prefer, in as much as it's the same DNA. Sometimes a house will have their own formulation that is way better, etc. CeeChronicles is my name. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's meet in the comment section where we discuss more about fragrances. Remember to turn on post notifications, guys. That way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Like and share this one, and remember that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.